Good evening and welcome to Speak Up Club's Saturday night number 72. It's been a wonderful journey. The past 10 days has been a moment of divine intervention of the Navratri and followed up by the Vijayadashmi celebrations, the Dussehra celebrations that we're having. And for that reason, we thought let's host a special session wherein we'll have a fusion of some wonderful thoughts or the spirit or the religious practices that we have on these 10 days and what it resonates, the spirit behind it, and how can we as individuals practice these spirits in our daily life. That is the theme behind today's session. And like it said, when we're talking about the Ma, the very Devi, let's begin the session with the Ma in my life, the woman in my life. Pragya, over to you to begin the session.
Thank you, Rahul, and welcome everyone for this special day where we have celebrated the 9 days of different Devis, which are there, the 9 different Devis, and we have also celebrated Dussehra, which is celebrated on the 10th day. Before I start, I would want to understand how many of you understand Hindi. Can you please raise your hands if you're okay with Hindi? Okay. Uma ma'am, you understand Hindi, right? Yeah. So most of us understand Hindi. If there's anybody who does not understand, I will still try to translate it in English language. But as we start this day, there is something very special which connects me to these 9 days, because from the time I remember, I was introduced to these Devis by my grandmother, my Nani. And how I got connected there was because on every occasion, on every Dussehra and in Navratris, there were some Sanskrit rhymes which he used to speak. And I learned them by heart because although I did not understand the meaning then, but it did tell me the different roop, the different forms in which the Devi is praised, a woman is praised. And I'm sure that all the women in this room will somewhere connect to one or other of these forms. Although there are so many forms in which the Devi is praised, but I am only going to connect to the few which are really close to me. And this prayer, this kind of a bhajan or whatever you call it, it starts with Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupen Sanstita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah. In this particular form, we actually tell that Devi, God, women, in herself is a power. Shakti means power. And that's why we praise women for her power. And we all know that women power has been there, which has been unmatched. The best example we all see is the way we have come to this world. That is the strongest, the most powerful moment a woman faces. When she brings a child into this world, or at many different times when many men also lose hope of their existence, of their power, of what they will be able to do. Women give us this power, sometimes in the form of a mother, a sister, a daughter, and if not, we call it Sangini, which means your wife, your better half. So if you see, you all, at least all the men, are surrounded with a lot of powerful women in different forms. The second one says, Yadevi Sarva Bhuteshu Lakshmi Rupen Sansmita Namastasye 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 Namo Namah. In this particular form, we pray to Goddess as a form of Lakshmi. And in Indian culture also, there has been situations where women is considered Lakshmi. As soon as a girl takes birth in a house, people believe that Goddess Lakshmi has come to the house. When a woman enters a house first time after the marriage, it is said that she is the Lakshmi of the family. And that is why women beautifully is praised as Lakshmi. And that is why Lakshmi Devi is the favorite of all. That's what all men work for. The more in their pockets, the happier they are. So probably one of the favorite goddesses of all men. Next is Yadevi Sarvabhuteshu Vidya Rupen Sansmita. Namastasye, 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 Namo Nama. In this particular form, we actually kind of pray Goddess Saraswati to give us wisdom. Remember, Vidya here does not mean only knowledge from the books. Vidya here means wisdom, to do the things right in the right manner. And last but not the least, which I think most men pray for, Yadevi Sarvabhuteshu Shanti Rupena Sansmita. Namastasye, 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 Namo Nama. So most of us pray Goddess for this thing, that we should have peace in her life. And that is why a woman is also considered to get peace in the house. She is asked, or she is supposed to be the peacemaking person in the family, be it a mother or be it a wife. And if a husband is in a trouble, he will say, please Shanti Rakho. So that is also a way where we all the men pay to their goddesses about keeping peace in the house. But whatever said and done, one thing which is always connected to me as a woman and a mother of a daughter is, every woman in this world has all the 9 avatars of the Devi in herself. You try to mess with her, she will not take time to turn to Durga also. You keep her happy, she will bring you peace. So you can get all the 9 forms in all of us, all the women here. And I really hope that everyone sitting here connects to what kind of Devi she would want to be. With this, I will hand it over back to Rahul.
Thank you, Pragya. Well, you mentioned about Shanti Devi. You forgot to mention that it's not men, it's married men who need it the most. With that, let me begin with the session now. The last 9 days have been a lot of spiritual practice and religious practices that people have been doing for the last 9 days, and more so the joyous celebration that we had yesterday, which was Dussehra. But I've always been a believer that what you practice as a religious practice needs to be connected with the spirit behind it. And that's where you'll find the real meaning to doing a certain practice and finding the real joy of doing that practice. It is always said that human spirituality contains three parts. The first one being relationships, second one being values, and the last one being a life purpose. If your practice doesn't connect each of these, your practice is missing something. And here in this session, the focus primarily is not just limited to the religious practices or what each Devi resonates or what each Devi resembles or blesses you with. It also has to do with the spiritual angle to what it means to you in your life and what you have to do, more than just talking about our prayers or practices that we are doing over this period of time. What we need to do and start practicing in a practical, real daily life is something that is a focus over here. So having said that, the foundation of religion and spirituality at the heart is same. The foundation is the same, but what and where it differs is in the religion being organized, community-based system of beliefs, while spirituality is very individualistic in nature. It is what is happening within me, what I believe in and what I am doing. That is where the stark difference between religious practices and spirituality ends. But for us to be spiritually elated, we need to understand the practical religious practices and see how the spirit is being built with those things. With that, let me warn you that we are not the spiritual gurus over here. I, for one, am far, far away from the completely religious practices to say, but does not mean that I do not have or follow the spirit of it. We are not the religious gurus for anything. If you have the knowledge, and if you feel there's something which is being said is wrong over here, feel free to correct us. Feel free to add your value. We are more than happy to learn from anything and everything that you have to offer, as much as we are offering something. So in that sense, we are not the spiritual gurus or the authority on religion. With that disclosure, let me invite you all, the speaker that we have for today, who's going to be leading the religious practice or religious angle of the Navratri, the 9 Devis, and the Dussehra celebration that we have had. Please join me in welcoming Uma Nataraj, who has been, I think for a lot of people who are here, she has been practicing the Dussehra, the entire ceremony or the practices that she has been doing for the last 30 plus years, even for greater than, I believe, some of the people who are of the age over here are less than 30. So she has been doing these religious practices for the last 30 years. She has a practice of arranging dolls as a practice of Navratri and the celebration. She also shared with us how she does it in the ritual session. So this is where she brings in her perspective of what the 9 days resemble or represent and what can we learn from it. I'll keep coming in after every day, every Devi has been introduced and what that Devi resonates or what that Devi stands for or what that Devi blesses us with. I'll be coming in between and having an practice session with all of you all of how we can bring in that element into our daily lives. With that, please join me in welcoming Uma Nataraj.
Thank you, Rahul sir. It was a wonderful prayer with which Pragya started. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu, Shraddha Rupena Samstita, Shanti Rupena Samstita, Vidya Rupena Samstita. So Devi is a giver of knowledge, wisdom. She blesses us with courage, valor, and whatnot. So we have 9 Devis during these 9 days of Navratri. And just like Rahul sir said, I have been practicing of the old tradition of keeping the dolls every year. I picked it up from my mother-in-law, and sincerely I have been following it from maybe the 2nd year of my marriage. So initially I thought, what is this procedure? What simply keeping dolls? What is this? I didn't understand the message from that. But as years passed by, I realized that every year I used to think as I grow, when I was young, I used to keep it with a lot of enthusiasm. And I used to wonder whether I'll have that energy as I grow older. But every year I pray to the goddess that please give me more energy so that I will keep it with more vigor next time. And goddesses, all the goddesses have been blessing me with more and more energy. Because at this age of 54, you need a lot of patience to arrange the dolls and then later put it back. So it is only with the energy from within, that is the divinity is there within, which is helping you to do all this. Nothing is possible only from our side. There is some superior force. I have felt that. So even yesterday I had it was a last minute suggestion from Rahul sir. Why not we do this? He got this idea and I just thought I will grab this opportunity. Because only when we as elders tell you people how we can follow these traditions, what are we learning from this, only then we will learn from each other what we learn from the Devis also. So let us start with the first Devi of Navratri. She is Shailaputri. She is called Shailaputri. This is dedicated to the first form of Durga, and she was born as Parvati to Raja Himavan for the prayers offered since many births, and hence she is named as Shailaputri. She is seated on a holy cow, which also indicates that she is personification of all gods and goddesses. Shailaputri signifies a divine protection around you to eradicate all sorts of danger. Offering your prayers to Goddess Durga on the first day in the form of Shailaputri can grant you protection from enemies and remove negativity from life. So negativity and enemies around is not a choice, but how much you soak in is. So I will like to have this as an interactive session because we have a lot of negativities in our life. How do we turn it into positives? So I would like Rahul sir to moderate the session, but we would like to have opinion from all of you how to face these negativities and turn it into positives in our life. Over to you, Rahul sir.
Thank you, ma'am. With this being said, I would just like to ask each one of you all. I think that is the first Devi that Pragya is sharing the screen of. Who shared the screen? I'm sorry.
Me.
Okay, done. Pragya,
It's
can
the
you?
first Devi for
Pragya,
the people
Pragya,
who don't know.
Pragya, Khushi is here. Okay. The first thing that we wanted to understand when we're talking about the dangers in our life, the negativity in our life, what are we referring to? What are the dangers that challenge our very living, the way we live our lives, the things that we want to pursue? What are the challenges? And when we are saying of negativity over here, what negativity do you face in your life? What are the negatives or negative environment or negative situations that you have faced in your life? I'm willing to listen to anyone. Just unmute. And one more thing that I wanted to mention over here, while this festivity being primarily of Hindus does not mean the same resemblance cannot be there in any other community or any other religion. It is from your religion's perspective that you can bring in the thought process. We are more than happy. This is not limited to only Hindus or a perspective that you have to give from that angle only. We are more than happy to learn from every religion, because I've always told this. At the heart, the differences between all religions are only cosmetic in nature. They are only cosmetic in nature, and each religion at the heart of it believes in the same thing: peace, love, and humanity. That is what I've always believed what religions are. So having said that, what negatives do you face in your life? What challenges do you see as a negativity around you? Akanksha, Sri Krishna, anyone, just unmute and speak. Sri Krishna. Lakshmi Narayana, your thoughts? What negatives? And I'm not limiting to one facet. I'm not talking to your personal life only, or your relationships, or your career, or whatever you're doing. What limitations, what negative energy do you experience in your daily life? Lakshmi Narayana? You're on mute.
May I?
Yes, Rabia, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Wish you all happy Dasera, belated, sorry to be. But whenever we meet, that is the day of festival, I feel. So every Saturdays are the Daseras, Diwali, every festival, I feel.
Diwali aega. Coming soon.
Aega. Yeah. So according to me, I feel the very day, every day is a day of beginning and learning, as what we say. So start with lots of things in mind when we get up, that we have to meet this particular target or goal or short-term goals as we have every day-to-day life for us. So we have to finish off this kind of work, and how am I going to do it? The moment you get up from the bed, you feel little, sometimes it happens due to the weather effect or due to some other reasons. You may say we are just preoccupied with so many thoughts and many things to meet with as such. So sometimes we feel weak within, and we feel lethargic, and sometimes we feel, oh my God, how am I going to finish my work in this day itself? There are so many things which are pending. But according to me, as I can say, when you just look up yours, means you just revise yourself or introspect yourself and have a thought of it, that let's start the day with the hope and faith in God that He is going to help me out to let my work done. And you won't believe this thing I have felt from within myself, and it's my personal experience, that many a times it so happened that many a changes I have seen, that sometimes, just a small example, I can say that the other day it so happened I was not feeling that well. I had a headache, bad headache, like the last night as such. So I just was feeling that how am I going to go to the college? It happened last week, it seems. Yeah. So I was just thinking, how am I going to go in the morning again, go and take the classes? I'm feeling so weak, and it won't look nice to give a very sad look every time to the students, and they have so many expectations, and they are full of energy, you can say, and they have lots of expectations from the other side of the table when they see look up. So I was thinking the same thing. You won't believe that day it was just a downpour. The rain started so heavily, and the government declared a holiday on Monday as such. And I was so happy that I got a break. So this is a small incident I would like to narrate with, and there are many more which I just think of, and sometimes it clicks. And it's a miracle of God, as what I accept, and I feel happy about it and grateful to Him. Thank you.
Interesting, Ravi. I think when you're talking of energy, negativity, and the enemies that you're talking about, one among them, or the primary one which we allow ourselves to be a victim of, is ourselves. The negativity that is there around, and how much do we allow it to soak into us? We don't have a choice of the situations that we face, of the people that we're surrounded sometimes, of how we are experiencing different elements which are kind of sabotaging or challenging the plans that we have in place. Now, having said that, how we let all this negativity soak into us is a choice that we make. And I believe this beautiful the idea from the first Devi that I got was about the simple fact that how is it that we can eradicate all the dangers? The external elements cannot be eliminated. Our thoughts towards that can be eliminated. That is where we can be in charge. That is where how we see those challenges, how we see those enemies. And is it possible for us to convert the enemies into our friends? Imagine how you are reflecting your energy to the situations which are around you. There will be a time when you are positive, when you make a choice to not let the environment or the negativities or enemies deter you. They eventually start respecting you. They eventually start seeing that come what may, he's not going to give up. He's going to stay positive. And that is where people start respecting you and you start building yourself. So that's the idea that I got from the first Devi, wherein it was said, they help in eradicating all the dangers around us. So okay, we are the ones who can choose what and how much the danger that we pose that poses us. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, very well said, Rahul sir. The choice is within us. What we feed only grows, is it not? So if you feed good thoughts, those will grow into positivity. If you feed negative thoughts, that grows into negativity. So let us move on with the Devi 2. She is called Brahmacharini. Brahmacharini Durga, the second day of Navaratri is dedicated to her. She signifies knowledge, wisdom, and willpower to achieve your goals. We all need willpower to achieve our goals. That is the main thing. Only if you have willpower, you can achieve anything. And she doesn't hold any ayud. Her ayud is nothing but a holy water from the Kamal. And she performed a strict penance on the name of Lord Shiva to marry him. And meditation on her name grants you willpower and knowledge. She is overlord of planet Ketu. And when we think of this, I feel like asking you, how thirsty are you for knowledge and wisdom? And how much are you willing to sacrifice for your goal? We all need knowledge and wisdom to grow in life. But how willing are you to sacrifice for this goal of achieving your knowledge and wisdom? Please give your opinion.
Thank you, ma'am. I think the wonderful thing that I loved about the second Devi was 2 lines which talk about the power that we all have within. It's beautifully said that there is no other ayut, weapon, that this Devi possesses, but only the knowledge, wisdom, and willpower. And the penance with which she, on the name of Lord Shiva, she performed a strict penance, which is where we talk of willpower and the determination to pursue something. Like when Uma ma'am asked this question, how thirsty are you? How much are you willing to sacrifice? What practice or what is that one thing that you have done for which you have given in your all, which maybe someone else has given up, someone else has not pursued, not given up, not had the courage to keep going on, keep persisting with that idea? What have you done? What is that one idea where you believe you have given all your in? Sri Krishna, Akanksha, anyone? Bhavagnya, Vijaya, Nandana, please join in.
Yeah, thank you so much, Rahul. In fact, I was just reflecting on that. And, you know, there's only one thing that I've actually given my heart, mind, and soul to, and that is the knowledge of self. You know, I feel that that is the highest knowledge of all, having which actually helps you to deal with you in a better manner. And I think deal with you in a better manner is a minimalistic word, you know, because that gives you the highest happiness, not just for your own self, but also it allows you to spread that happiness all around in this world. And I believe that that is the knowledge that we should be spreading to our future generations, which unfortunately I do not see happening, because we are most focused on academics, we are most focused on competition, but then real knowledge is never about those things. It is always and all the time about cooperating and about co-creating. And that actually gives us the real wealth, and that actually gives us the real happiness, you know. So that is what I pursue every minute of my life. And that just fills me with awe, you know, because when you stay in bliss, then that is what you spread. So that to me is the highest knowledge. Yeah, thank you, Rahul.
Wonderful, wonderful perspective, Nandana. I think when I look back to where our scriptures, the thing that we have learned so much from, the history of the tradition, religious scriptures that we have, they were written some decades, years, centuries ago, over 2000, 3000, 4000 years ago, they were written. Now I wonder, there was no Google then. Where did they find all the answers? For all the answers, even today, that science is trying to still explain. If you go back to our scriptures, you have the answers already in place there. Now that makes me wonder, what is the real source of knowledge and wisdom? The sages who have been sitting under a tree for years altogether have the answers to your pressing problems. How do they get it? Beautifully said, Nandana, wherein the knowledge of the self is the knowledge that you need for living a life. Beyond that, nothing else is required. And from what I've seen about all the other knowledge that we keep grasping, I like this one statement that I heard. The more I know, I realize the lesser I know. Listen to it again. The more I know, I realize there's far lesser that I know of. And that keeps the drive on. That keeps you engaged. Today, if I were to tell that I've met so many people, learned so many things, read so many books, have so many degrees, I only know that I know very little. And that realization helps me keep going on and on. So today, if we are at 72nd session, that is where we are talking of willpower. If we are here at 72nd session, I could have very well easily given up at session number 10, 12, 20, 40, 60. We are still there because knowledge, what I get from listening to all of you all, the perspectives that you all share, the stories that we hear, only tells me that I know only a little. And that is what I want to know more of. Over to you, Mama.
Wonderful. I agree with you completely. The more we know, the more we realize that there is more to be known. No, it's just, we are just a speck of sand in the whole ocean. So let us move on to Devi 3. She is called as Chandraghanta. Ganta means bell, as you all know. And as per Devi Bhagavatam, this sacred text reveals that goddess Lakshmi named Devi Parvati during the time of marriage with Shiva as Chandraghanta. She experienced the bliss of moon. And another sacred text reveals that she is known to be the married form of Mother Parvati, who started wearing half moon on her head after her marriage to Lord Shiva. That's how she came to be known as Chandraghanta, which means half moon that looks like a bell. And her third eye is considered to be open all the time, and she is ready to battle with the demons. And she holds bell as a weapon to destroy the evil. Meditation on her form on this sacred day grants us bliss, peace of mind, and eradicates all sorts of psychological issues, including depression and anxiety. So we all know that whatever abundance you may have, whatever money, knowledge, wisdom. If you don't have peace of mind, what is the use? No, peace of mind is the ultimate thing which we all desire. So how hard-headed or mentally strong are you to wear out the challenges that we face in daily life? Challenges are a phase in the journey of life. So how do you face them? Is there any mantra for that? How are you facing your challenges in life?
Thank you, ma'am, for that wonderful narrative about Devi 3, Chandraghanta. I would like to open it for everyone. In the journey of pursuing a lot of things, whatever it is, you could call off your personal goals, your career, your professional, whatever journeys that you are in the pursuit of that, there's a lot of anxiety that builds in. There's an overwhelming feeling that we go through in pursuit of those things. And the question is, if the answer is in the journey in itself, why the anxiety? If the answer is in the journey itself, why anxiety?
But some people fail to understand that. Then how to make them understand?
No, who is that some?
My family member, one of my family members.
It's okay. The idea is the environment in which all of us in different kinds of problems. So I could have a challenge in something which is personal, while in my career, I could be very much okay and calm with regard to having a peace of mind while I'm pursuing something. While there could be another element where I could have a lot of anxiety. How will it pan out? What will happen? What will be the end result? The idea behind this is how much of a peace of mind you have through the process. What brings in anxiety? Rabia, what brings in anxiety?
Yeah, people surrounding you, you mean to say?
Okay. If I'm talking of the world within you, what builds
The
that
people will
anxiety?
keep putting up the negative thoughts in someone, like, and then make
Okay.
them feel that everything has come to an end, and that the same person starts feeling in the same way. So how to pull that person out of that, in spite of saying it is not so, still then the person just have gone into a depression, means it is not that easy for the person to make him understand. So how to pull him up? I just would like to know that.
Okay. I would want Vijaya Nandana to respond. Anyone? Who's by the name?
Sorry, I
Sparsha?
just got lost there, Rahul. Can you just repeat it?
Rabia is saying that when we talk of someone pursuing a journey, there is anxiety, and the people around build an environment through which there's a lot of anxiety built up, pumped up into someone while they're doing something. Even if before the result comes in the journey, there's so much of a pressure that they give in and start feeling anxious, overwhelmed, and start feeling depressed, or the other extreme of it. How do we deal with that? Vijaya, go ahead. Nandana?
What I am saying, na, it's only a self-belief. What I face in my life, everyone is facing some people like that in our life. That we are saying that leg pullers, टांग खींचने वाले, like that. So we are getting so many people in our life. Not you only, not me only. Every people are getting. But what is the main thing is the self-belief and ignorance. Do not ignore yourself. Ignore them.
Interesting.
है ना? So and it start मतलब you will going to start to build up confidence, self belief. So it's like that. Ignore other if they are saying negative. If you are thinking that you are at good place, you are doing something good, and other person they are saying that no, it's not your cup of tea or anything like that. So it's better to ignore them and believe in yourself. Just you will get the result definitely.
Interesting.
And that I am also
Yes,
doing.
okay, nice.
I'm ignoring. We have to use the filter. Okay.
I like that word. Filtering the responses. Whether the words that come through from someone, are they challenging you or are they doubting you? Is the filter that we can use to progress. Nandana, your response. Nandana, are you there?
Yeah, Rahul, I'm there. Rahul, to me, every challenge is just a cry for a shift in terms of perspective. Because if we see, Rahul, what is an urgency or a desperation to you might just be a task to me. So where's the difference? That difference is all coming up because of how I perceive a particular situation, how I respond to a particular situation, or how I react to it. So that particular perspective is what that I think brings about the major paradigm shift. So when we start to see all the challenges as the learnings in disguise, and when we challenge ourselves to learn from those, then I think we will cease to be anxious and we will be curious to see the learning that's hidden in it, and we'll go for it. And when we go for it, then I think we'll start to enjoy the process, because when we understand that the process is simple and it is all dependent on your mindset, then everything ceases to become simplified. And that, I think, is the beauty of actually facing life. Not too complicated, but to just look at from a different angle and then try to understand it and how to go about it. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you, Nanda, for that perspective, and thank you, Vijaya, for that wonderful perspective again. From what I think of a response to Rabia's question is, one of the biggest challenge that all of us, equally me, face is judging our self-worth from the lens of someone else. When that is the lens that you're judging yourself, you're sure to fail in someone or the other's lenses. That has to shift to within. For a certain age, it could be challenging. Do you have the right compass to assess? Is a question that you can have. But as they grow in life, the question is that they should start working around this idea where I am the judge to how well I am doing. And that's where you start building that self-confidence that Vijay was telling. That idea that I know what is best for me and I can assess whether I'm doing right or not. Because only and until this situation comes where you are a master of your life, again, coming back to the previous 2 points, having self-awareness, having knowledge about what you are good at, because a fish will always be judged that it cannot jump like a monkey. It will keep crying. That's where the lens, like Nandana said, the perspective has to change of what and how well I can do based on my own metric of growth. As an example, I am from a business family. People outside judge me of how much time I'm giving to the business, how much commitment I'm giving, how much growth I'm getting, how many numbers, money I'm getting into the family and the growth in the business. To me, my life and the purpose of life that I've got for myself is a little different. And so that is not a metric on which I judge myself. I judge myself at Saturday night, 9 p.m. How am I impacting or influencing people? If one day, if I'm earning on the other side ₹1 lakh in the business, and if I'm delivering something bad here or anywhere, not just in Speak Up Club, that is where my metric will start questioning, are you doing well or not? But the world cannot understand this entire logic or the metrics that are at play for me, for my life, in my own world. That's where anxiety, the point that we're talking about, the Devi 3, anxiety comes in when either the metric that you're looking at is external or you're looking at your own metric for the future. Too many expectations of what will happen, what will be the outcome of it, how will it perform, how will I do? So many metrics coming in, bringing in anxiety to what you're doing. And so it becomes counterproductive. The very thing that you're doing and very thing that you want becomes the negative force to what you're doing right now. That has to change. And that's a blessing that we can give ourselves, to be in the moment and not let the future ruin your present or the external forces ruin your present. Let's quickly move on to the next Devi because we are short of time. I'm sorry for taking up so long.
Yeah.
I hope it adds value. Over to you, ma'am.
Wonderful, Rahul sir. let us be non-judgmental and have self-belief in ourselves. Only then we can, ward off the negativities surrounding us. So the Devi 4 is called as Kushmanda Durga. According to the sacred text, Lord Shiva himself named Devi Parvati as Devi Kushmanda, as she was the source energy for this entire universe. Worshipping Devi Kushmanda on this sacred day of Navaratri bless the devotee with good health, wealth, prosperity, and abundance. So it is the balance that offers meaning to our life. How can we get good health, wealth, prosperity, and abundance? How can we be blessed with complete abundance? Share your thoughts.
Anyone would like to share their thoughts on what significance does balance of different elements in our life bring to our life? Sri Krishna. Anyone? Vijaya, Nandana, Rabia. What significance does balance on different pillars of our life bring to our life?
It helps us lead a better life. In general, when we if we are doing school or college, but having fun in house, and also there should be balance in everything, then only we can be happy, and our stress levels will be low. And even 13-year-old 10th class student will have a lot of pressure. So we can't say, some people say, you are just 13 years old, what pressure do you have? But so it's about how we handle that pressure. That's very important.
Interesting. Nice, Sri Krishna. That's a different perspective. Here, when we're talking about the balance, we're talking about the different pillars that we have in our life. You talk of the relationships or the personal pillar that you have, the corporate or career pillar that we have, or we talk of your health, or you talk of your own very self. What is it that you want? And how is it that you find peace for yourself? The different pillars, the idea behind this point that we talked about here of this Devi offering us good health, wealth, prosperity, and abundance. The idea here is, how do we build a balanced life? Because more often than not, most often the misery in our life is because of the skewed element of one part. Either it's too much of money, too much of lack of dedication to work on yourself, or different elements which are at play for us. Rabia, go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, I would like to say in relation to that itself, that I feel that ifs and buts should be avoided to the maximum in our life to maintain the balance. Whatever be the pillar, it is financial, or is it professional, it is personal, or your innermost of it, just ifs and buts should be avoided to the most, and live by a day. As what I have learned, of late I have started learning, because all my life through I was just going through many ups and downs. And with that, I have learned that live by a day. Just live thinking that today is the only day you got it, live it. And next day, God is there to take care of it, because God was taking care of the things when we weren't there in this world. God is going to take care of the things when we won't be there in this world. He was there, he will be there. And why to worry about the present? Because now also he is there. So these three things will definitely help anyone to just keep going. When we were not there in this world, then also God was there to take care of the world. When we will leave this world and go away, even then God is going to take care of the world. Then when we are in, why not he is going to take care of it? It's only we have to reach to him. That's what I feel. Thank you.
Interesting, Rabia. I think the philosophy that you're talking about is that everything has its own space. Everything will be at the right space at the right time when you need it. If it is not, the idea is that you are present for a reason. That you are present for a reason if it is not. Thank you for that wonderful perspective. Anyone else would like to add about the pillar? Any pillar on why is it important to have a balance in life? Anyone?
I feel that if you have good health, wealth will automatically follow. Only if you are strong, if you are fit enough, you can do things in life. No, so everything has a connection. You have to build a balance. Have a good health.
I tried spending 12 hours in the gym, but it didn't work out. All my finances were gone. Just kidding. The idea is, again, there's no hard and fast rule. We did one of the programs in the past, which is called as Pillars of Life, wherein we talk about this fundamental, that it's not that on a daily basis you should have 6 hours for health or 6 hours for this and all. But the idea is, over a period of time, if you're talking for 2-month period, 3-month period, 4-month period, whatever time frame that you're going, make sure that you constantly keep rebalancing and having the equilibrium of your life. As an example, if you want to spend 6 months hard at work, it could be required. It could be required for your growth, for your journey, for your improvement, for everything. But make sure you have that break of 1 week or 2 weeks for the family whom you have been sacrificing for your work. Or make sure you spend some 1 hour at least on a day, so that you can take care of your body, so that it can run not for just those 6 months, but for times to come. That is where we're talking of balance. It need not be on a daily basis that you have to have a rule where 6 hours is this, 6 hours is this, 6 hours is this. Over a period, make sure you're balancing. Any thoughts, Vijaya? Bolo.
What I'm saying that don't think over for anything. It is also the because as we are girls, ladies, so we are balancing so many things. We are working also, we are having kid, we are having household work, and other things also, kitty party, social service. So those things are also there. So everything we have to manage, and we are doing it.
Yeah, indeed. Like when when we talk of a lot of successful people who are successful externally, there is a reason that they are successful. Is because someone at the back is balancing the rest of the things which are required in their life. And that's why it's said, a woman is behind every successful man, because a lot of pillars are not ignored, but they understand and believe that it is being taken care of. And so you are able to progress or run at a speed that you are doing. And the times are changing equally for both. Equally for women. Today, a lot of women are doing a lot of things. For that, equally, there's a commitment or a joining of hands from the spouses or their family or whosoever it is. So the idea is, we cannot grow alone. And the pillars, different aspects of it need to be balanced at all times. However you're doing it, that's a choice. Over to you, Uma ma'am.
Yeah. Devi 5 is Skandamata. She is seen seated on lion, which indicates fearlessness and dynamism. So we all have to be fearless and have valor in life. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It is action despite the fears. What fears limit yourself? What are the limitations that you have in life? What are you afraid of? How can you face challenges in life fearlessly? Come on, come out with your fears. I want to hear about it. Open up.
I'd like everyone to respond. Akanksha, Lakshminarayan, what is it that you feel stops you from doing or accomplishing what you want? Vijaya, go ahead. बोलो कोई बात नहीं, आपके हंसी में जवाब मिल जाता है हमको.
The most fear, the most important fear, it's like the fear of failure. So many people we are having that inside. Because of that, we are not starting anything. And that fear, sometimes what is the thing? The fear of failure. And sometimes we will not succeed. There are two different things. We are started, and then we are thinking that I am not able to do. So that is the fear of success. Ye hoga hi nahi. And second, we are not starting because we are having fear that we will fail in future. So this is the thing so many times we are facing, that ye to humse hoga hi nahi.
Interesting. Akanksha, Sri Krishna, Lakshmi, and anyone?
Self-doubt, I'd say, sir.
But there's a fear in that.
You kind of start doubting if you can accomplish something, and that is a fear that you can't accomplish anything. It comes from external and internally too. Fear from your surrounding people and acquaintances and all, and then the fear from within. The self-doubt starts planting on you, and that turns into a fear if you can accomplish something.
Akanksha, your mom is around? See, I took away the fear, one element of the fear outside the room. The idea is again wonderful. Thank you, Akanksha, for that. Both external factors and internal factors. But like we have always, or in all the 5 Devis that you've talked about until now, what is failure? How do you define that? Lakshmi, go ahead. Lakshmi, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, most of the fears from others only. Actually, whenever they are doing some work, so what will they got failure, right? We will also think, okay, actually, because of that, we succeed like that. But what I used to do, what will happen? Okay, no issues, we can go ahead. Lot of decisions I took in my life. It's a lot of things. It came to me. So actually, that fear, how we can overcome that? We need to start working on that. No need to think about that one. So it will automatically will get, because of your, how you can say, because of your thinking, that positive thinking. So it will automatically happen. Lot of things actually, whenever I'm starting everything 100% all against to me. So then I start working, automatically it will come. So a lot of things I have seen in my life actually. So like that we can overcome that fear. Automatically support will come from God, friends. If you're doing good, good will come to you automatically. The same policy to me. I'm working on that.
Interesting, very interesting, Lakshmi. I think thank you for that wonderful perspective. Who else is there to share? Quickly, Rabia, go ahead.
From the time of pandemic, I started feeling that though we know very well the fact that we are born to die, but from the time we started facing this particular pandemic phase, then after I started having a fear that don't know what will and when will be the last day of my life. And especially, I mostly think of my people around me and my daughter especially. So I used to think, like, if it is going to end up soon, how is it going to be? What may be the future of her? And likewise, this negativity has made me to turn into a positive way by living my life to the most, to the day which I am alive still. So this negativity, I have changed it into a positivity, taking the life to the fullest. And started doing the things to the maximum, in my limits, to the maximum in the sense to be happy to the most. And make her to feel happy. Thank you.
I know your limits. So I'll come back to that sometime. Bhavagya, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Bhavagya.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Before even trying, I suddenly become an astrologer. Like I predict the probability of the favorable outcomes. So that I fear the most.
Interesting. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else would want to add something before I add to it?
Fear is an emotion, like other emotion.
पता नहीं, emotion का पता नहीं, emotion निकल जाता है उसकी वजह से.
नहीं, why it happens? Because when we are having and every emotion which is in the large quantity, we can say, no? So it's a madness.
Interesting.
Any emotion, it can be a love, sadness, happiness, anything. तो पागलपन होता है, madness. And fear is the one of the emotion with lots of large quantity of emotions. So it's a madness, and जिससे हम डरते हैं.
Okay. I'd just like to add over there on 2 points, which the points that are mentioned over here. One, on the fear of failure as an instance or the result of what you're doing. Like Bhavagya just mentioned, or Akanksha mentioned, about the point that you're calculating. Why do you begin doing something with an assumption that you want to win or you will win? Why does it have to be always about winning or losing and not about trying and learning? You could win. That's my assumption. I could win If not, I can learn. The alternative to what Rabia mentioned, that's a philosophy that I've been living with. The fear, especially more so with the last 1 year of pandemic, what we have seen, the fear of life and death. The very reason of this pandemic, there's been so much of an appreciation and the real value of where I need to give gratitude that I have this in my life has come in because of the fear of death. There have been so many unexpressed messages, love, experiences that I wanted to share with people. Just because there wasn't any pandemic and there wasn't any thought of death, I held back them before the pandemic. But because the pandemic happened, because there's a fear of death, I made sure not to hold back anything to me which is worth sharing, which is worth adding or expressing to someone. That's a learning that I had. So on the fear of failure, always remember, don't go with an assumption of winning or losing. Go ahead with an assumption of trying or learning. So that's where the entire mindset changes and we go ahead.
Devi 6 is on day 6. She is called Devi Katyayani. So Devi Bhagavatam, one of the ancient texts, says that sage Katyayan performed strict penance on Devi Durga when Ma Durga was pleased with his years of hard meditation, she incarnated as his daughter and came to be known as Katyayani. So Devi Katyayani, she signifies courage, strength, and love. And the pain in our journey of life, we get a lot of pain, misery, no? And we need some strength to endure all this. How do you think we will get courage and strength to face all the miseries in life? Are you prepared to face the demons that come in your journey? Have you faced any such demons?
Over to you, anyone. The thought here is simple, that we all pray for easy lives. We want the environment or things that are around us to be easy on us or go as planned. But life is life. It doesn't go anywhere expected or as we want it to be. And so the very reason that we're talking about this, Devi, is that it resembles the fact that we should have the courage, we should build ourselves such that we are able to deal with the pain that you're getting in your life. All the situations, all the environment, all the challenges that you're facing, it adds to a lot of uncertainty and pain in our life. But what we should actually be praying for is power to deal with this pain. Because without pain, there's no real joy in the things that you're going to accomplish. For whatever things that you've accomplished in your life, if I were to tell you, take off the pain, would you have accomplished that at all? Or would there have been so much of a joy in accomplishing that without those pains? Ask yourself those questions. So next time you're praying for easier lives, pray for power to endure the pain. The pain is not a choice, but the suffering that you go through is. When you have a perspective of enduring the pain, that I will be able to go through it, I will grow, I will mature, I will become better at the end of going through all this pain, you are becoming a better version. While if you're praying that I should not, why am I facing all these things? Why am I experiencing all this? Why are all these problems in my life? If you're getting the problems, you're actually blessed. Because God is giving you an opportunity to grow, to build yourself, to become better versions. Without that, you will be having a wonderful life, but you will be as you are. You will not be the better version than what you are right now. We'll just quickly go through the remaining ones, and at the end, we'll have it open for questions or any other thoughts that you want to share. Anyone wants to quickly share anything? Quickly. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. So day 7 is dedicated to Kalaratri Durga, and demons Shumba and Nishumba defeated the gods with the help of Chanda, Munda, and Raktabij and began to rule the 3 worlds. So Kalaratri, she rules over the time, and all events in our life is due to the blessing of her. Kalaratri, although looks very ferocious in her look, she is the quite benevolent mother of all 9 Durgas. And worshipping Devi Kalaratri blesses the devotee with courage, strength, and eradicates all sorts of challenges in life. Then day 8 is dedicated to Ma Gauri Durga, and Mahanavami is being ruled by this Devi. She is the personification of Vedas, and she is depicted in white clothes and mounted on a bull. It is believed that anyone who worships the goddess gets relief from all the sufferings in life. So the ultimate suffering is to believe that you have no choice. Can we ever get relief from all the challenges in life? Is there any magic or any magical solution for all the challenges in life? We will come to that at the end. Day 9 is dedicated to Siddhidatri. The last day of festival is also called as Navami, and sitting on a lotus, she is believed to possess and bestow all type of siddhis. Siddhis is nothing but magic or mantras. So the purpose is to always have complete understanding. That is called siddhi. So when we look at this, we say, do we have any magic potion for all the challenges we have in life? Is there any fast food solution? No, in this fast age of life, everything you need a quick fix solution. Is there anything like that? So ultimately, we culminated yesterday with Vijayadashami, which is considered the day when Rama killed Ravana. And on this day, it is considered a day of victory of good over evil. Is it not? So even a godly man like Rama, he needed help from people like Sugriva, Hanuman, Jatayu, and he had to go to the forest and seek their help. He was not knowing anybody, but what made all those people attract towards him? How did they help him? How did he, Rama, make himself worthy? So whenever we face any difficulties in life, do we have people to count who will come and help us? Are we making ourselves worthy? We may have a lot of friends on Facebook and WhatsApp, but how many of us come to our help when we are in need? Are we making ourselves worthy? Are we helping anybody so that they will come to our help in return? So we have to ask such questions to ourselves. Is it not? So let us ponder on that, and Rahul sir will take.
Thank you, ma'am. I think because of the paucity of time, we are just rushing through it. But I would just like to reflect on a few thoughts, each one of you all to reflect on this, and feel free to respond or ask or discuss or share your perspective over here. The day 7, where we are talking of Kalaratri Durga Devi, the idea is she blesses the devotees with courage, strength, and eradicates all sorts of challenges in life. Who do you look up to in your life? Who is that mentor, guru, or teacher that you talk of who can bless you with the power to eradicate the challenges in life? Here, eradicate the challenges in life does not mean you're not challenged. It means you are powered or empowered to face the challenges, or how you're learning and upgrading yourself to meet the challenges which you are experiencing. Do you have a mentor, or do you have a guru? Need not be that spiritual guru or that mandir wala guru, but the point is, what we are referring to is, do you have someone whom you look up to, who can guide you in where your life is headed to? Go and search for that if you don't have one, or have someone whom you can always fall back to as a guide. Not that they'll be doing things for you, but they'll be always, like it's mentioned that she looks the most ferocious of all the 9 Devis, but the fact is she's the one who's making you capable of becoming better. That's about the day 7 Kalaratri Devi, Ma Gauri, and the Siddhidatri. Sorry, I'm sorry for the names. Ma Gauri Durga, wherein we're talking of the relief, the point that we already mentioned or discussed over here, the relief from the pains in life. We are talking of the relief from the pains by upgrading ourselves, not from being detached with the challenges in life. What we also need to always remember is that pain is inevitable. That is, there's no choice for the pain in life. What you have to keep understanding is that every time you're enduring some pain, what is the end result of it? What are you becoming? At the end of it is the answer which will help you in keeping motivated. And finally, the last one, which was about Siddhi Dhatri, wherein the word Siddhi means ultimate understanding. The word Siddhi means ultimate understanding, and this is what we're talking. How is it that you can get an ultimate understanding of your life and the things that are around you? The only thing that we already discussed in the past in this session is where you keep pursuing knowledge and wisdom from the world around you. With the practices that you have, keep exploring. And that is what we are doing at Speaker Club. This is what we are doing, trying to build on the perspectives that each one of us have over here from different experiences, listening to them and building on our own thoughts by expanding what we know. And that is where the ultimate understanding is. Not that there's a full stop or there's an end to it, but the very fact that you keep expanding yourself is the answer to this Siddhi that you need to have in your life. The Siddhi isn't the end result. Siddhi is an attitude. Siddhi is a lifestyle where you keep expanding and keep learning more and more, because there's no end to it. And like Umam said wonderfully about Vijayadashmi, the last day, where we are talking of the entire culmination of these 9 days on one day, where the evil is the good overpowers the evil and wins. And there's a victory of Lord Rama over Ravana. Here, symbolically, it's good to know that Ravana was a bad person or evil, and Rama was a hero or the good which won over. But always remember, I have a different perspective. I don't say I pray Ravana. All I'm saying is that there's a perspective that there's one element which was bad. That does not make the entire person bad in itself. Are we giving a chance to understand the people who are around us, that we're surrounded with, for one mistake, for one error, for one element of their life which is in a bad shape? How do you judge them? How do you look at them? Do they become the Ravana because of one element? Is a question that you need to ask. And if they are one, are we so pious that we are not one? That's a question that we need to ask. The question has the answer in itself. How do you look at the evil? How do you define evil? What perspective can you build, or an alternative thought that you can build over that? Anyone else would like to share anything before I close the session formally with the one song which I began my kind of, I would say, the video journey that I started with Living Life. This is the first video that I did for Living Life in the year 2016, I believe. And that's where my journey of making videos and this public interaction started with Living Life. Until then, it was all about standing on stage and delivering lectures or doing programs. I'll be sharing that if, and at the end of it, we are not left with any perspectives to share. Open for your thoughts, your ideas on the last 3 points, which you have rushed through because of lack of time. Over to you, whosoever is unmuting and speaking now. Who's coming up next? Vijaya, Akanksha, Lakshmana, Rabia. Who's by the name Sparsha Joy? Hi, Dipankar. Good to see you here today. Thank you for joining in, but we are just about the closing time for the session. We begin at 9 p.m.
Yeah, I was having my own session here going on.
I understand. Look forward to having you next time at 9 p.m. because this is a series that we keep having every Saturday 9 p.m. we meet. Thank you for coming in, first of all.
Just I'll put the light on.
Sure. Yes, anyone else would like to share a perspective over here? Yes, if not, I think we are good for my closing notes, and then we can go about staying back for an informal discussion, and then we'll close the session. Okay, this is a song which was a part of, not exactly a song, but it was a part of the movie Swadesh. And these are lines which talk wonderfully about how we see Ravana and what Ravana is and what Ram is, and how can we become Ram despite or in spite of having all the policies that are there around us. The songs, the lines of that movie go like this. राम ही तो करुण में है, शांति में राम है, राम ही है एकता में, प्रगति में राम। राम बस भक्तों नहीं, शत्रु के भी चिंतन में है, देख दच के रावण राम तेरे मन में है, राम तेरे मन में है, राम मेरे मन में, राम तेरे मन में है, राम मेरे मन में है। मन से रावण को निकाले, राम उसके मन में है, मन से रावण जो निकाले, राम उसके मन में है। These are lines of that wonderful thing that has stayed with me for a long time, and it talks about how each one of us has a Ram within us. It's just that we have to shed off the Ravan that is there in our minds, in our soul, in our thoughts. Once we take that off, I think we are the Ram. We are the ones who can exhibit or be the Ram for the world. With that, signing off today's session, the usual way, Speak Up Club. And how we have it, the usual way, I think we have a lot of smiling faces already. So before we go ahead with that, and I would like to close it the usual way. Saturday nights have never been this beautiful for the last 72 Saturday nights now. Thank you for the love that you keep coming in and sharing this platform with us. Thank you for sharing your perspective, listening to our perspectives, and gaining new perspectives. Thank you and have a good night. See you all next Saturday, 9 p.m.